what I'm presenting on is about my experiences, as Francisco has said. And these experiences have been gathered in this project that we are doing, which is on building urban community networks for sustainable cities in Africa. And I act as the consortium lead. So just to let you know what I will cover, I'll start with the introduction, then I'll get into the aim of the presentation, and then the history of the consortium, and then I'll get to the diversity of the consortium, the role of the consortium lead, the personal reflection, and finally, I make the conclusion. So just to start with the introduction, again, coming to the first slide. So this project was conceptualized way back in 2020 when Belmont Forum called for applicants to the grant to pursue this research, and the research theme was under pathways to sustainability. And therefore, just to mention what exactly I want to say, this is purely a personal experience. And as a consortium lead of this project specifically, I have learned quite a lot in the past one year that the project has been operating. And therefore, I just want to mention about this consortium. Why is this consortium existing today? Is because of a very interesting history in the past. That in 2020, Belmont Forum, they invited people to participate in a workshop, and this was in September 2020. And it sounds interesting because actually I didn't get this email for this workshop. And a friend of mine from Germany just forwarded this email and saying, hey, Peter, I think this is interesting for you because it's talking about early career researchers in Africa. Maybe you can participate. And then I took the idea with a lot of seriousness. I applied, and then I was accepted to participate in the workshop. And during the workshop, we had to pitch our ideas, research ideas, what we are doing, because we are early career researchers. And during the 2 days training, the staff members and the trainers from Belmont Forum, they helped us to shape our research ideas and also to be able to communicate our research ideas to different stakeholders and also to different people. And by the end of the day, we gained useful skills in also coming up with the research topics, writing proposals, and so forth. So when I left that training, I thought of now thinking of how to carry the idea forward, because Belmont Forum, they hinted that they were about to publicize a call where everybody was qualified to participate and to submit a proposal. And the conditions were very clear that the proposal should have a consortium of different people coming from different disciplines and coming from different countries. And therefore, I started working on that. It was not easy because this particular network I formed for this project was purely new. If you go to the Belmont Forum website, you'll find that we are classified as a new network. And what I did, I actually depended so much on the people that I've met in the past in conferences, people that have been with me studying together abroad in Kenya, and also specifically for people who participated in the Belmont Forum workshop in September 2020. So it was also very useful for me. So when I contacted them and the call came, I told them, now I have an idea, guys, can we pull together? And some of them, they said yes. Quite a number of them, they dropped on the way, and that is nature. So I accepted the 8 people who came on board. We worked on the proposal. And when the time of submitting that proposal came, you can imagine the question that all of us asked, and especially myself, who is going to be the consortium lead? Of course, during the meetings and during the proposal writing, I was acting as the secretary to the group, and not at any point we talked about who is the consortium lead. And therefore, in the end, we had to find a consortium lead, and members didn't struggle. They quickly said, Peter, you are our consortium lead. And it happened that way, and we submitted the proposal. Now, looking at the diversity of this consortium, geographically, we are in 6 countries. We have the USA, we have a representative there. We have Ghana, we have Nigeria, we have Kenya, we have Rwanda, and we have Tanzania. So you realize that 5 of these countries are in Africa. The project is anchored in Africa, and only 1 participant from abroad, well, from outside the African continent. And the cities that are represented here, of course, from Ghana, we have Kumasi. In Nigeria, we have Lagos. In Kenya, we have Mombasa and Nairobi. In Rwanda, we have Kigali, which is the capital city. And in Tanzania, we have Dar es Salaam. So when it comes to the diversity of the principal investigators, in total, we are 8 in the consortium. And starting with myself, I represent Kenyatta University here in Kenya. And my area of specialization, which I'm bringing into the project, is urban ecosystem and socioecology knowledge and expertise in the previous activities and assignment that I have done. When we go to Ghana, we have Benjamin. Benjamin is an ecologist and also very passionate about the green spaces. And he is a lecturer, a senior lecturer at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. In Nigeria, and now the representative of Lagos in the project is an expert in environmental conflicts. And he works with the Nature Cares Resource Center. This is not an academic institution, but it is a non-governmental institution. In Rwanda, this is Kigali City. We have the PI by the name Josephine Malonza, and she's an architect and very passionate about public spaces and how can we safeguard and protect public spaces, especially in our cities. And she works at the University of Rwanda. When we come to Kenya, again, we have Margaret Owor. She's a specialist in marine and coastal management, and currently she's working at Southeastern Kenya University in Kenya. In Tanzania, we have our PI or principal investigator. This is Shabani Soa. He's an expert in wildlife biology and currently based at University of Dar es Salaam. Coming back to Kenya, we have our ICT expert, information, communication, and technology, and also data management by the name Dr. David Mogo, and he's currently based at University of Embu. And finally, and not least, we have our PI in the United States by the name Olufemi Taiwo. Olufemi Taiwo is an expert in philosophy and climate colonialism. So you can imagine this diverse team being coordinated by someone who is not in all the disciplines. You know, we have social science, we have art, we have natural science represented in the consortium. I don't know whether I mentioned the name of our representative in Lagos, that is Nigeria, the PI number 3 from left. He's called Olusola Andeoye. So what is the role of the consortium lead? And this one, I divided it into 2. First one is the intellectual role. You have to have the expertise. You have to know what is it all about, the topic that is being researched. So the intellectual role that I played here was mainly to guide the team through planning, knowing what needs to be done for the project, where it should be done, when the timing based, in a reference to the Belmont timetable, and how it should be done, the methodology, referring the team back to our proposal on the proposed methodology for each of the activities proposed, with whom, if you need personnel, what kind of expertise do you need to execute the activities that you need to do for your city, and what do you need in terms of equipment or even facilities. Processing, my role as a processor, methodical processing, logical processing, where I needed to identify the patterns in data, which is coming from different cities, identifying the reality of this data, what is more rare in one city compared to another, what is common in these cities, and what is very unique given the various cities that we are covering. Proactiveness, I had to lead in proactiveness, and this is to be sensitive about the process, being flexible. Where things are not working, can you jump into alternatives and you move on. I also needed to lead in thinking systematically, what we refer to as systems thinking. And this is looking at how different parts of the project, they contribute to the whole or to the goal of the project, and looking into the interactions between different components, different cities, and also how they are interconnected. I also had to lead, intellectually in analyzing the content, the situation. So having an analytical mind is very important for the consortium lead, where you deconstruct the complexities, you identify the associations, and where we have dissociations, you have to lead objectively, and also you have to be very keen when it comes to cost-benefit comparison. So you do the cost-benefit analysis, and you come to guide the team on the optimal gain for the project, which route can give you the optimal gain. Monitoring, that is tracking change, detecting deviations, was also very important, has been a very important role for me to play for the team. And finally, here we talk about decision making. I have to lead in decision making. Decision making is not easy because you're expected to make decisions, under all circumstances. During pandemic, during nice times, during bad times, you have to make choices for you to move forward. And choices is also about comparing alternatives. What are you losing by foregoing certain alternatives, and what are you gaining by picking a certain decision and moving with it forward? So the second component of my role as a consortium lead is what I refer to as a managerial role. And here I tried to draw a very beautiful flower with these managerial roles. I'm not a good artist anyway. So the first managerial role actually is to hold the goal of the project, holding the goal of the project and guiding the process through to achieve that particular goal. The second one is to organize, call for meetings and execute the meetings with a high level of professionalism, and trying to make sure that all the agenda, they have been discussed exhaustively, so that moving forward, people, they are very clear on what needs to be done. So I've been in charge of the communication from Belmont Forum to my team, from Kenyatta University, which is the administrative organization in administering funds for the project. I have to communicate the process to my team. Another managerial role is to do the budgeting. Like when I'm making the request for the budget, if it is the budget for Kigali, if it is the budget for Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, if it is the budget for Lagos in Nigeria, then I have to make sure that I break down that particular budget to request for the funding. You don't present the whole budget to to the fund administrator. You break it into various activities. So I also facilitate funds transfer from Kenyatta University to Lagos in Nigeria, from Kenyatta University to Kumasi in Ghana, from Kenyatta University to Kigali in Rwanda, so that the PIs in those particular cities are able to execute their roles. I'm also working as a liaison officer, so to say, because in case of anything, I link the project to all the stakeholders and the partners. I also serve the managerial role of monitoring the progress of the project, so that I make sure that we are moving in the right direction and at the right pace. And also I lead this consortium in report writing, and we have to develop certain principles on how a report should look like, the minimum, qualifications for or having a template or even a format of what we need to have our reporting done. And this is very much placed in my docket as the consortium lead. The other thing is to make sure that there is a documentation, clear documentation, starting with the initial activities that we did during our proposal writing up to date. You can access that information. It is well kept. We even have a physical office where we have physical documents safe for the project. And finally, I have been like a spokesperson for the project. Since this project is started, I have been invited in various functions and conferences just to say more about the project and how far we have gone with the project. So more like a spokesperson of the project. And those are the managerial roles, producing a very nice flower. This is the artistic side of me. So on the way, I want to mention very quickly about expectations that didn't fall, the expected roles that emerged and they were not there. These are issues to do with uncertainties on the way, a lot of anxiety because of the pandemic. Those issues, they lined squarely on my desk, and I had to guide the members during those handy times. Managing expectations, you realize that the process of administering funds is not that smooth because of bureaucracies, and I had to manage expectations of the team. I also act as the advisor of the team, especially when the budgets, they are affected by the ongoing COVID-19 protocols, where you have to use a lot of money to test your participants. If you are organizing a workshop, you have to spend a lot of money, which initially was not part of our budget. So people, they get into that level where they don't know what to do. And here I have 10 points that I would like to say that they can advise any person who wishes to become a consortium lead for any project. First, you have to lead by example. It's not by telling people, do this and you are not doing that. I make sure that if we are organizing conferences across the various cities, my city is #1 to organize the activity and to produce the report. Exercise effective communication, avoid communicating rumors, be concise in your communication, and use different platforms to reach every member. Practice accountability and transparency. Here you have to share budget with the team members, and also the expenditure with the team members. Motivate, mentor, and inspire team members. Be empathetic, and this is to understand your team. Know when they are sad, know when they are happy. Sometimes people lose their dads, they lose their mothers, they lose their sisters and brothers, and there is work to be done. You have to know to what extent you have to push that person because he or she is mourning. So you also have to understand when people are happy and also congratulate them when they are celebrating their birthdays. These are your team members. They are your soldiers for the project. Respect is very important. different opinions, thoughts, ideas, they need to be respected. Sacrifice your time, resources, and expertise. Exercise patience and restraint. Collaborate and influence. And finally, empower your people. Let them not leave the project the way they came. Add value to their life. And in conclusion, I'll say that leadership is working with the people to efficiently and effectively commit resources allocated for a specific goal or purpose. A project leader must be fully in charge of the project's goal and lead others toward the goal and be in the forefront in walking the journey. A leader must be a keen listener, consultative, decisive, under all circumstances, firm and friendly. And finally, from experience, a research consortium lead should not only focus on the project outcomes, but also on how the team members are transformed by the project. And this is the lifeline for the science, And thank you so much for listening to my experience.